What's up, everybody? Hey, let me check on the sound. Man, the day just flew by. Here it is, 9 o'clock, and I'm just now getting around to being able to do a Facebook Live, and it's going to be a good one. It's perception truth, and I want to tell you a story, and I want to get your feedback on it, and they give you a little information. But let me first make sure that this is sound. How does it sound? Does it sound okay? Okay. It looks like the sound's good. Okay. So, is perception truth? So, believe it or not, I actually went to college. But I only went for like a couple of classes, right? And one of the classes, I was one of those people who was like, I'm going to take the classes that I want to take, right? And one of the classes that I wanted to take was a philosophy class. And it just so happened that the philosophy teacher at this university was a rocket scientist at NASA, like a real life rocket scientist. And the reason that he came and taught at this school was that he wanted to be closer to his wife. So the first day of our school, when we came to his class, he gave everybody, he had a little notebook, right? And he said, "What's your name?" He goes, "Oh, Randy." He goes, "Okay, Randall, you're at row 3, seat 3. Take a seat there, and hey, here." And he had a coffee can that had these little pieces of paper folded up inside of it, right? And he said, "Take one of these and don't do anything with it. Don't talk to anybody. Don't say anything. And I'll tell you what to do with it in a little bit," right? "Hey, what's up, Freddie? Thanks for coming on." And so I'm like, okay, then. So we get this little sheet of paper. We go sit down. Eventually, everybody comes in, and we all sit down. Gets up in front of us, does a little intro, and he goes, "Oh, you're probably wondering about this sheet of paper that you have. It's just a little bitty, like almost the size of a fortune cookie, right?" And he says, "So this is what I want you to do. I want you to take that piece of paper out when I tell you to, and I want you to read the saying that's on that sheet of paper. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and this is all I want you to do. Read the saying and pick out all the letter F's that you can find in that piece of paper." He's like, "Okay." So he goes, he gets us watch out, gives us 10 seconds. "Okay, stop, put it away. Now I'm going to give you one more chance." He's like, "I'm going to give you one more chance. And I want you to be absolutely certain that you would bet your life on it that that's exactly how many F's are in the saying that you had." So he goes, "You ready? I'm going to give you 5 seconds this time." So he gives you 5 seconds. We open it up, count them up. He goes, "Okay, put them down." I put them away. And then he goes to the chalkboard, and he writes on the chalkboard 4, 5, 6. And he says, "Show of hands, how many people in the room found only 4 letter F's?" A couple of people raised their hand, not that many. He goes, "Okay," writes it on the board. He says, "Now, how many of you found 5 letter F's in your saying?" There's like a couple more people raised their hand. And he goes, "Okay, how many people found 6 letter F's in their saying?" And a few people raised their hand. He wrote it on the board. And then he says, let's see, "Mr. Chestnut, do you mind standing up and reading your saying to us?" So I got up, stood up, read my saying. He goes, "Thank you, have a seat." He goes, let's see, "Stephanie, do you mind standing up and reading your saying to us?" She stands up, and her saying is exactly the same as mine, right? Then he picks one more. "Hey, Michael, can you stand up and read yours?" And Michael had the exact same phrase on his as mine and the other lady. The whole premise of everyone in the classroom had the exact same saying. And he goes, "Okay, so the people that said that they found only 4 letter F's, you would have bet your life on that, right?" And they go, "Yeah." "How about the people that found 5? You would have too, right? And the people, you 6, yeah, you would have as well, right?" And he says, "Now, let's go through this saying all together as a group." And we all went through, and he counted them, and there were 6 letter F's in the saying. He says, and he goes to the blackboard, and the little maps, if you're, I don't think they have them in school anymore, but if you're around my age, you remember they had you pull it down and it slides up, and even they have the projector. Well, he goes, and he pulls it, and it slides up, and in quotation marks on the chalkboard, it says, "Perception is truth." So the point of him doing that was, hey, you're in a philosophy class, right? And whatever you believe this philosophy to be, don't look to other people always. to give you the answer and tell them what they think it is. You do the research and you find out, because what you may perceive to be true, if you do a little research, may not actually be the truth. So hence, perception is truth. Now, those people that said they only seen four-letter F, the truth was they did only see four-letter F. But the truth, the real factual truth, was that there were six-letter Fs. So would we call those people liars? In today's society, it seems like yes, we would. So for those of you who are just joining me, I'm talking about, is perception truth? I told a story about how this my philosophy teacher gave us this little saying. It ended up and asking us to go in that saying and find all the letter F's in this saying, right? And none of us knew we actually had the same amount of the same saying, right? But all of us found different amounts of letter F's, but it was exactly the same saying. And we all would have bet our life on it, right? So the whole point of him telling us that was, in philosophy, that what you perceive to be true is going to be true to you, but that doesn't make it true, like factually true. And I think society right now, when we watch Fox or we watch CNN, if you're a liberal or a liberal or you're a conservative, you always seek out, it's only natural, it doesn't make us bad people, seek out information that confirms what you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true, just like in that story, the person who found 4 and 5, was true to them. They weren't lying. But what happens is, if that person invests too much into selling that there's only 4-letter F's or 5 when there's actually 6, and somebody could show you, what happens is, and this is both sides, it's not one or the other, it's not conservatives do it all the time, it's like both, and we all do it, me included. And you have to train yourself to be okay with being wrong. It's okay to be fucking wrong. It's okay. It doesn't make you a bad person. It actually makes you a better person if you seek out and try to find out what is actually true, like the facts. Like, just because you don't like Obama, right, or you don't like Kevin Hart, or you like Barack, or you like or don't like, I mean, name the person. I mean, Donald Trump. If you like or don't like Donald Trump, right? Once you don't like Donald Trump or whoever that person is, it is very, 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 almost damn near impossible for you to ever like the guy, regardless of whatever it is. And to even say anything that's even positive for him, or if you don't like Barack Obama, I'm not saying that one is right or wrong. I'm just saying, we as humans, whatever we perceive to be true, if we invest too much of our emotions into what we think to be the truth, is, in the example, if you're just coming on, in the example, if I was a person who found only 4-letter F's in my saying, I was being truthful in that. And if I chose not to, if the guy who said I found 6 said, hey, let's look at them together and let's go over this, if that person refused to look at it, well, then how can you actually have a conversation? And they call you an idiot. They say that you're stupid, or that you're biased, or you're all of these things. See, this is what's going on right now in our media that people can't bring themselves away from, because at the end, whether we know it or not, we all have an agenda. And that agenda may be that you just want to be right, or that you believe that, I mean, come on, let's be truthful with one another. Do you honestly think that somebody who's a Republican does not like children? I mean, don't be ridiculous in that. And if the Republicans do the same thing, they say the Democrats don't like, children too, or they always use that because it's such an emotional hot button to get people to do what they want them to do, which is get emotional, because they know if they can get you emotional, that emotions go up and intelligence go down. And when intelligence go down, you make stupid decisions, say dumb things, and do stupid things. And they go, thank you very much. And they control you. They control you through your emotions, because they understand how your mind works, that in that example I gave you, perception, right? So be mindful of this shit. Don't let these people do this to you. Don't get caught on it. Be open-minded. And why is it not okay for somebody to change their mind if they happen to be a politician, or if they happen to be somebody who's like, they got older and they learned shit? Did you change your mind from the person that you were when you were 18? I mean, be honest. Why is it not okay when they call somebody a flip-flopper? Because they got a little bit more information. And if you think about the story, I use this story because it drives home the point. Would you be a flip-flopper if you said there was only 4 F's in the saying, and if you're just coming on, you have to go look at the beginning to understand what I'm talking about? Would you be a flip-flopper if you went back and you said, oh, wow, there is 6 letters. Oh, I'm sorry, there are 6 letter F's. And they go, oh, you're just a flip-flopper. Like, no, I actually went back and looked at the facts. And Michael was right. I was wrong. There is actually 6 letter F, and it was my fault. I should have did a little research. So, perception, and it's invasive, and it invades our whole life and every aspect of our life, from relationships to business, right? So I told you that story to tell you this, that why do you think that there are people that are 19 years old who are making millions of dollars, who have no formal education? I'm going to take away all of the excuses that people would do. They have no formal education. Maybe one of the parents or both of them don't give a shit about them. Maybe they only live with them. Maybe they're divorced. Maybe their parents are drug addicts. They live in a shitty neighborhood. They're not white. They're African American. They live in a poor neighborhood. They have very little resources, and they speak at a third grade level, but yet they have produced a product that makes millions of dollars, or a service, or done something to produce that. And you need to look very far to find these people, right? And it's like, what makes those people different from the people who don't have those things, right? What makes one person who's successful in a business and another person who's not, like Kaylin and Brandon Pauline. They're a husband and wife combination. They're 23 years old in the fitness industry, and they've created a membership program for people in the fitness business, or for people who want to get fit. And they have 140,000 active members who subscribe to them and pay them $27 a month. They make over $1 million every month. They're 23 years old. They admittedly say they're no smarter than you, and they don't work probably any harder than you. The person who's told you that you need to work hard to get things in life, well, you do need to work hard. There are things that you need to do, but working hard ain't the only thing you need to do, because you could go dig ditches, and you could go mow yards and change roofs, and that's hard fucking work, but you ain't gonna make $1 million a month residual doing that. What you need to do is do it in a systematic way and be strategic about what it is you're going to do with your time. That's what you need to do. Like, decide, what can I do that I'm good at, that I can maximize what I'm good at and do it and get paid the most amount of money. That's what you need to do. Not because you went to college and you got some silly ass degree. That don't mean shit. That don't do nothing. I mean, there's millions and millions of people who, Henry Ford had a third grade education. Thomas Edison didn't even go to college. I mean, he was just a businessman, right? You don't need to have any of that. Perception tells you need to have that. Maybe you used to have that. You don't need to have any of that anymore. I mean, I could show you tons and tons of people right now that are making a great living, 6-figure income, which nowadays is doing okay. They're making 6-figure incomes, and they're like 19 years old. They don't know any more than you. What they do know is that there's a system that they can follow, and they could produce that. And one of those systems, I feel like I have something in my hair. It keeps doing that. I don't even know how many people out there listening. Like, everybody jumped off when you start talking about people and saying, "Are you doing these things?" And is your life? Would you want your life to look like this? A lot of people is like, and hopefully the sound is good. Let me see. Nobody's saying anything, so I'm going to check the sound here really quick just to make sure. If you don't mind, it looks like. Hey, Jerry, can you guys hear me out there? I'm not. I'm looking at my phone, and it's not actually. Let's see. Did this thing? Oh, fuck! No wonder. I can't hear it. Okay. Can you guys hear me? If you can, then let me give it a. Let me log in here so I can at least see the comments. So anyway, so perception is truth, right? And let me say this. So if you didn't get a chance, you're just coming on, you're looking at it, you got to go back and listen to the whole story. And I think you'll see an element of truth in that because it's 100% true, right? And so I wanted to show you, so since I mentioned it, I pulled it up. I want to show you, instead of telling you, what I just mentioned to you, and that is Lady Boss. That's her name. This is her website. This is her system that she created, her and her husband, out of their house. They had like $97 left, and they made this. They come up with this system, right? It's a wake up, work out, and go to bed. Like, who in the hell does not know that if you want to get fit, you need to work out, eat right, and get some sleep? Who doesn't know that? Do you need to pay somebody? Do you think you need to pay somebody to do that? Apparently, yes, you do, because they're making $1 million for people paying them $27 a month to have access to a system. And you think about, do people need to know what you do? I don't know. I think everyone has something that somebody would pay for. That we all know something that someone would pay for. Everybody. You just don't know it. Like, I mean, honestly, who out there does not know that you eat right and work out if you want to get in shape? If you want to have, at least physically look like you're in shape. Every fucking body. Why are people paying other people that then? Because they need them to give them and hold them accountable. Maybe they need them to do like maybe a little bit better. Maybe they have a certain issue that they want to work on, and those people are going to help them with it. Lord, I don't know. So don't talk yourself out of that. You have something that people want, like fixing cars. Maybe you know a lot about LinkedIn. Maybe you know a lot about crypto. Maybe you know about stained glass, how to make stained glass, how to crochet, how to use Alexa and to grow your business. I mean, I don't know, whatever it is, how to build a Shopify account. It tells about there's billions of people out there, and all of them are Googling things that I guarantee you are Googling things right now that you know how to do, that you could teach them how to do it, and then sell it to them, right? So I want to show you again. This is Lady Boss, because I told you this, and I'm going to show you right here one more time. Look at this right here. I got to highlight it. They have a private membership, 140,000 active members who subscribe at $27 a month, and they're 23 years old. And admittedly, they say they're not any smarter than anybody. They just strategically do the work, right? If you own a business and your business is struggling or going down and it's not going the right way, I'm going to tell you, I already know what it is. I know what it is. Is that you do not have a marketing infrastructure. That's it. If you go through and you look at everybody who's producing this income, the reason that they're producing this income because they built a whole marketing infrastructure. They didn't say, oh, I'm going to try this Facebook Live thing, or I'm just going to try to do these Facebook ads, or I'm going to try to do a mail order, or I'm going to go to these networking. No. What they did is they took their whole marketing and they made sure that they built everything with touch points and using all of the tools that are available to them, that so that they, for example, ran a Facebook ad. Somebody clicked on the ad, and then that ad took them to a landing page, and that landing page knew exactly what problems to talk about to that person and give them a solution for free, give them value for them to give you their email, right? Now you got their email. Now you have your nurturing programs where you send them an email, another 3 emails that give them even more value, totally for free, that helps move their needle a little bit more, helps them make a little bit more money. And now on the 4th one, you just say, hey, hopefully this stuff has been useful. Hey, you might like if you join my Facebook group. It's totally free. We go in there and we do all this great stuff. And click here to join my Facebook group, and you can meet all this wonderful people. We currently have 4,000 people in our Facebook group. You can go there and join our group. And so now you ask them to do just one little thing, right? They joined your group, right? Now they've joined your group. Now you know that you have inside of your group that you go to your group live once a week and answer questions and bring up topics that may revolve around that, like whatever affects that industry or whatever helps it, or whatever answer saying, hey, I'm getting all these emails about what is XYZ. So I'm gonna break down a simple 3-step strategy for fixing XYZ, right? And you do that once a week. See, you're constantly building value. What you're really doing is you can either choose to be a hunter and you go out and you kill and you get paid, right? That's like real estate agents. They go out, they get a house to sell, they sell it, and they get paid. And now they got to go hunting for another house, and they constantly killing, right? And then eating, and then going out and getting. How about you be a farmer and grow shit and water it and let it grow and water it and pick the fruit and water it and pick the fruit, right? That's much better that you plant seeds and they grow and you continuously get stuff coming from them, right? That's what I'm talking about. You can still do the other stuff, but wouldn't it be better if you had a plant that was constantly giving you food and you didn't have to hunt every day, all day? And and you woke up in the morning that there was $20,000 in your bank already and before you ever even started looking for a lead? This is stuff, look, folks, this is stuff you can do no matter. You cannot name me one industry that you're in that you cannot convert and create some sort of residual business out of that. Whether you sell ball bearings to the oil industry, or you sell SaaS software as a service, there is still an opportunity for you to create some sort of residual income in there. You just have to have somebody. The perception you have is that you can't, but you need to have somebody like me sit down with you and tell you and show you that you actually do. So I'm saying all of this, the perception part and your business and your marketing stuff, to say this. If we ask 100 people what a great life looked like, you probably get 100 different answers. But I'm certain that virtually everyone would have a couple of things that were on their list. Like most people would agree, for example, that a great life includes something worth living for, right? I mean, who wouldn't agree with that, right? Check. I think everybody would agree with that. Maybe even worth dying for, right? I mean, there are things like people would die for, right? Like I'd die for my daughter. I mean, we all have things that we just believe so deeply for, right? Or maybe something that we devote to a bigger cause. It's bigger than us. It's grander than us, right? Something that inspires and energizes you, that pulls you forward. Something that responds to you. That some unique talent that you have, that you can make a difference in the world, right? I think all of us could agree that all of that, what I just said, is some flavor is a great life, and that's what a great life looks like for all of us, right? So you have to ask yourself right now, is whatever I'm doing right now, is it achieving those goals? And if it's not, why are you not looking and creating a world that you want? I mean, you're grown, right? You don't have to do what your parents wanted you to do. Maybe some people feel like they have to out of respect. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your life. You live this life, and you're only here one time. And why would you waste it doing something that has no meaning? It doesn't give you what you want. You don't squeeze out of it. Because what you don't want to do is to get to the end of your life, and you don't want to turn the last chapter of your life and read that chapter called regret, because it's too late then. Like you can't go back and redo it. It's over. So I wanted to do this live. I opened it up with the perception, and I told a little bit about like businesses. But the perception part is that you may perceive right now that opportunities that are out there to have everything that you ever wanted in life is only available to certain people. Don't believe that lie, because it is a lie. Whether you grew up in the poorest neighborhood in the world, crime-ridden, the opportunity is still there. It is your job to seek it out. If you want something different, you have to decide what it is you want. What one person finds enjoyable, another person finds annoying. It's your job. Don't put your responsibility on somebody else. You're responsible for you. There's a book that Andy Andrews wrote. It's called The Traveler's Gift, and it's these 7 decisions in life, right? And they're like gravity. You can believe them or not, but if you go on the top of my house and you jump off, you're going to hit the ground, whether you believe in gravity or not, right? Well, this book has these seven gifts that they learned throughout history, and the very first one is the buck stops with you. That you have to take responsibility for where you are in your life. It's no one else's fault but yours. And once you can swallow that pill, then you don't have to rely on anybody else to release you from whatever it is that you are using as an excuse or a crutch. It's like you take responsibility, and now you say, don't say, whatever excuse you want to use. I don't even want to say what they are. Everybody, we see them on TV. We see people saying, "Oh yeah," we see people on CNN say these things like, "Yeah, but you grew up here," and we see people on Fox, "Yeah, but you," like, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Like, you take responsibility. If a homeless guy who has absolutely nothing, standing on the street, begging for money, can turn their life around because they actually have absolutely nothing, no family, no nothing, and they wrote the book that I just referenced to you, and now they have this great life. So can you. I mean, you can do these things. Don't tell yourself that lie. You can have whatever it is that you want. Perception. Remember, perception is truth to you, but that doesn't make it true. So be okay. If you leave with anything, leave with these. Leave with this. Understand that what you perceive to be true, and if you do all your research and you find it, and the information that you found was true, what you thought it was, that you felt like, I did my research and I think that's true. Well, later, if there's some actual information that you didn't have access to or you didn't know about, and then you found it, you have to be open to looking at it and going, wow, I didn't have that information. Had I had that information, I would, and be okay with changing your mind. You got new information that you didn't have. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't even make you wrong. It only makes you wrong because you didn't have, had you had that same information, you probably would have said that same thing. And I tell people, hey, you judge any president. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump, everybody, all the way back, right? There's only probably a handful of people in the world for any major decision that have all the information to make that decision. So how can you possibly judge somebody when you don't have all the information? Now, you may get secondhand information from people who say they got it from this bullshit source, but how do you know that's even true? You only want it to be true. So understand this. If you ever became president, there are things that only the president gets to know. It's kind of like if you're married and you have kids and you and your wife are discussing, you don't go tell the kids what all you just discussed and why you came up to the decision. You just said, Mom and Dad decided that we're going to do this. You didn't talk about all the intricacies and have to explain to them why you came up with that decision, because you run the house. It's your house. You don't need to explain to them. You have all the information that they can't possibly know what to do with it, that maybe you have to move because the job wanted you to move. And there's like whatever it is that you needed to make your decision on. And understand that people, if you're getting on this president or senator kick, they have information that you don't have. And maybe if you had all of the same information, you might actually do the same thing. So be careful how you judge people, right? I'm not a religious person, but I did have, and I interviewed Corey Kamadiner, and he's like a scholar, and my best friend that I grew up with, Joe Warsack. A scholar. I mean, those guys know pretty much every word on every page of the Bible, and you could believe it or not believe it. But one of the things that I didn't know that Corey had told me, and Joe had told me, is that if you believe that you go to heaven and they say, and you get in or out, wherever it is, whatever that looks like, one of the things is they're going to judge you based on how you judge people in this life. So if you judge people a certain way, then you're going to get judged that same way whenever you go, wherever this place is, right? And you can believe that or not believe that, but it's kind of like you can't go wrong if you just say, don't get emotionally caught up in some of this stuff that has honestly, no bearing on your personal life. But you find yourself getting caught up in it, and you wonder why your shit's all jacked up, why you ain't making money, living the life you are, because you can't mind your own business. Mind your own business. Hey, I appreciate all the comments, and hopefully the story was good. Hopefully it gave you a little bit of insight, and because I've done it, and maybe you've done it and recognized that you've done it and you felt bad. Don't feel bad if you found something, more information. Hey, and if your business isn't doing what it wants, what you think it should be doing, or it's going the wrong way and it's not going up, it's flat, 100% without a doubt, I can guarantee that it's because you're marketing, right? You know, John Dillinger is, right? John Dillinger robbed a shitload of banks, right? He was like robbing banks and getting away with it, right? And robbed tons of them and laughing. And he was like this urban, legend, or not urban legend, but he was like this folk hero. And one of these reporters one time, he said, "Hey, John, why do you rob banks?" He goes, "What do you mean why do I rob banks? Because that's where the money's at." I mean, duh. It sounded such a stupid question, right? But it's the same thing. Why should you focus on marketing? Because that's where the money's at. And if you look at your marketing, do you have a full marketing structure that every aspect from your Facebook, social media, to your LinkedIn, to your email strategy, to your nurturing strategy? Do you have an online product? Do you have a subscription service? Do you have an actual product that you can explain to somebody in one sentence that they get it? Do you know who your actual customer is? Do you know what solution you have for that person's problem? If you can't do all of those things, then that's why your business ain't doing good. And just like John Dillinger said, the reason he robbed banks because that's where the money's at. And if you want your business to do well or your life do well, because it's the same thing, look at the marketing. Hey, thanks again for everybody for coming on. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I know it was a little late, but I appreciate everybody coming on, and I'm out.